Welcome to HBCU Her Voice, a place where we celebrate the powerful voices and stories of remarkable women from historically Black colleges and universities. I'm your host, Shanasia Washington, a proud HBCU graduate myself. I'm thrilled to bring you this platform dedicated to amplifying the voice of our community. We dive into inspiring stories of resilience, success, and the incredible impact these women are making in the world. From trailblazing entrepreneurs to innovative leaders, we bring you the stories that matter, showcasing how HBCU experiences shape paths and fuel passions. We'll explore challenges, victories, and wisdom. Whether you're an HBCU alum, a student, faculty member, supporter, or simply someone who believes in the power of diverse voices, we are so glad to have you. So listen up as we share insights, celebrate achievements, and uplift our community. Together, we can inspire the next generation of leaders and ensure our voices are heard loud and clear. A grand welcome to HBCU Her Voice. And we're back with another amazing episode of the HBCU Her Voice podcast. You know, I am your beautiful host, Shanasia Washington, streaming from the wonderful city of Houston, Texas. And I am so honored to have my guests. We already had our pre-show cut up. We like sisters already. And I just know that she's going to bless the place. I'm not going to tell her story. We're going to let her do it. Without any further waiting time, she comes to the stage and does our normal drill. She tells us her name, where she's streaming from, which HBCU she's repping, and there may be two. And she's going to jump right into this story. And here she is.
Hi, I am Jacquelyn Clark Johnson. Thank you so much for having me. I am streaming from High Point, North Carolina, and I'm representing two dynamic and amazing life-changing HBCUs, and that is Bennett College for Women, located in Greensboro, North Carolina, and the illustrious North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, also located in Greensboro, North Carolina. When people ask me, who am I? Who is Jacquelyn Clark Johnson? First and foremost, I like to answer that question by saying I am a mother of two amazing boys. I'm a wife and I'm a woman who's faced many ups and downs in life with resilience and purpose. I balanced a demanding career with the joys and challenges of raising a beautiful family. I've learned along the way that that success is not just about climbing the corporate ladder, but it really is about lifting others along the way. I'm passionate about mentoring young women because I know what it feels like to be unseen, unheard, and ignored. I've truly made it my mission in life to ensure that no woman ever feels the way that I've felt in spaces where they should have influence. My claim to fame really is helping women not just navigate, but to excel and to dominate in life. My claim to fame is showing them that they belong at the table and that their presence is essential to driving change and innovation and to create a life for others that shall come behind them. Whether it's through my current role as Vice President of People and Culture for a Fortune 500 company, or through my nonprofit organization, Beauty for Ashes International, I believe that empowering women to realize their full potential is my purpose. It's what I've been called to do in the earth. So I am Jacquelyn Johnson. Again, I am a proud HBCU graduate of two amazing universities. I'm also a leader. I'm a mentor. I'm a coach. And I'm a woman deeply committed to making a difference in life and in my community. When you follow my footprint in life, you know that the community enrichment is my claim to fame. I believe that giving back in life is really my claim to fame. And it's really the rent that we pay in this earth to make sure that we ensure that our communities are healthy and they're thriving. So I simply want to do my part. The strength of our communities is a big part of why we are successful, even in corporations. So again, that's something that I live my life to do. I also live my life to dream big. I dare to dream big, even in the face of life's challenges. Obstacles do not hold me back. I believe that you still are called to make a difference and an impact in the communities that you live in and even in corporate spaces. So that's who I am in a nutshell.
That's beautiful. And I am telling you that just in my conversation with Miss Jackie prior to today, I really truly believe that. I really truly believe that about her spirit and even the space that she's allowed me in a very short time. So I thank you so much for that. Well, Miss Jackie, the seen and the not seen and the unheard part of what you just said, of course, resonated with my soul. So much so that we talked about it and we wrote the book about it. And corporate America for me was, at the end, at least, was a very tough place. You in executive leadership, you being this woman of resilience and courage, I need you to talk about how you step into that confidence, because so many women, especially the ones that look like us, struggle with that confidence to stand firm in leadership, especially executive leadership. Can you talk about your walk there?
So I want to start from my time at Bennett College. The reason I want to share that is because Bennett College is an all-girl, all-women's college. And Bennett College really taught you that your voice matters, that your voice can change the nation. Like, you leave that college campus truly feeling like you are invincible. And so when I left that Bennett College and I entered into some corporate spaces, it was the first time that I felt unheard and unseen. I was not prepared for the shock that I was going to experience. And I remember all of my teaching, and I remember all of the amazing and strong women that raised me. And I had to find who I was. And so how do I step into those spaces today? I found mentorships. I gleaned from those lessons I learned at Bennett College for Women. And I started understanding how you play the game, if you will. And what I mean by that is it can't just be about who you are as a woman, but you've got to stand in your strength and resilience and your knowledge. And if that means you have to go and really go towards continuing as education in terms of learning something different about yourself and making sure that you are sharpening your skills so that people trust you around the table. The more and more they trust you, the more and more influence you receive. So I really do stand up in the strength of who I am. And I stand up in the fact that once I say I'm going to do something, I execute and I do it. And so I've been given lots of influence and lots of opportunities that way. And it's really through sponsorships and mentorships as well that really helps me to build my confidence and step into spaces. So when I say something, I don't have to command, but when I say something, by the sheer fact of who I am, because I'm trustworthy and because I've shown myself to be knowledgeable, then I'm able to make a huge difference. And so when I look in corporate spaces also, and I see people that look like me or underrepresented, I truly feel a sense of obligation to help them follow in my footsteps. Although some of them may not have had the experience of an HBCU, I can certainly pour into them in terms of the experiences that I have gained through corporate spaces.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jackie, for the work that you're doing in those spaces, because it's so needed, right? I remember telling you on the phone that I could have used the you, right, when I was going through my corporate journey, really those challenges, right? I was really longing for someone specifically that looked like me to help me through some workplace navigation, essentially. So kudos to you for showing up. But this also too hinges on the practice of, inclusivity, right? I want you to talk about some of those things that you're doing. I know that you believe in sponsorships and mentorships, but what are some of those things that you're doing to ensure that inclusive practices that stay a part of the culture and also to really in the forefront of conversation as we continue to navigate the space of diversity, equity, and inclusion?
That's a great question. So it's not easy. I work in a predominantly non-diverse environment, which we have programs that we're trying to change that. So it's not easy to navigate those spaces because when you talk about diversity, sometimes it shuts people down. So what I have tried to do was really promote and talk about inclusion. Inclusion is one of those terms that's not as scary, but it's so needed, right? It is making sure that everyone feels as if they belong. And so in my workplace and throughout my career, I've championed opportunities where we've had focus groups to hear from our underrepresented teams and employees. I've had to be the brave one around the table when conversations are had that I feel there might be a microaggression or micro insult. So I take that, instead of getting upset about it, I use that as an opportunity to really teach. So through leadership development courses, through training workshops, I use my platform to educate and bring awareness. And I think once people are educated and they are aware of how others feel and how someone may have unintentionally made someone feel, I think you get a lot of programs called Other Voices here in our community that we send a lot of our leaders through so that they're educated on issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I can go on and on regarding that because there's so many initiatives that I've had to champion, and they've proved to be very successful.
Thank you so much for sharing that, because where we are when we hear diversity, equity, inclusion, we are in a place where sometimes it's becoming a buzzword. It kind of stays on the top of companies' lists and it just stays there with no action. Sometimes it's put on the boards, but nothing really happens. So this is a place where we can champion people that are actually doing the work and doing this as a part of a mission and something that they truly care about. So thank you so much, Ms. Jackie, for sharing that and all of your work. It's not going in vain. I know that people like you are on the front line. That's why it was so important that I had this conversation with you, because you're championing really, really in spaces that need your voice. Let's go here. Now, Ms. Jackie has told us, she's out here writing. She has Beauty for Ashes. She's like a VP at a Fortune 500 company. She got a son. She was getting him in school last week. I'm just saying, in sense of all of these different roles, let's talk about time management, what Ms. Jackie is doing to navigate all these roles, and really, really what she's doing to stay grounded, to be able to show up as really Ms. Jackie in these roles.
I don't know how Jackie keeps it all together, to be honest. But what I do know that's vitally important, there are certain roles that I play that I don't have a choice but to play them, whether that is being a caregiver to my elderly mom and, being a board member in the community, or working in my current position, as well as my nonprofit organization. I mean, I have a lot on my plate. I've never made excuses, right? And so what I try to do is try to find me in the process of that. And what I mean by that is therapy. I want to talk a little bit about that from a mental health perspective, that we're taught often in our community, the African-American community, that therapy is taboo. And so I decided 4 years ago to give myself the gift of therapy. That's one way I keep it all together and make sure that I take care of my mental health. I have to have situations and spaces whereby I can process many of the things that I go through, whether it's, something that's happened in my family or my job. Therapy has been a important factor in my ability to be able to balance what I have. And then when I think about purpose, and I think about what I've been called to do, that's what drives me too. I don't have a choice to say no, but I've learned throughout my journey that I have to bring people on this journey with me. I can't do it all by myself. So I reach out to others that might have gifts and talents, and then I partner with them and we make things happen within the community. And oftentimes it's a win-win situation, right? They have a purpose or something that they want to achieve. And so you partner with somebody like me and we make it happen. And so you're able to kind of lean on each other and not feel like you have to do it all together. So collaboration is vitally important, and networking, as well as making sure that your mental health stays intact.
That is so true. I was just telling somebody today, especially as it relates to that communication and collaboration piece, that I'm at a stage in my life to where if I'm not weak or it's something that I can't do, it's not my strong suit, I am raising my hand and finding someone else to help do the thing and get it done, because I am finding that in areas that I am weak, there are so many others that are strong. And I really, really want to create a space and community where we can use each other's strengths. That's what's helping me keep this train on the track and really keep this thing going. And it did take a lot of time for me to get to that space, because I will just try to do it all. But me learning and really, really having that, I reflect this time to say, no, There are people that are stronger in these areas, and you can best use your strengths to play against their strengths, and you guys figure out how to best get this done. Thank you so much. But I want to shift here for Beauty for Ashes. First, I love the name. I want to know how you landed on it. What gave you the thought to name it? Because I think it's absolutely brilliant. And we touched on this at the beginning of the episode a little bit, but I want you to go further into that transformative piece that you are hoping to give through Beauty for Ashes.
Beauty for Ashes is my baby. I literally birthed Beauty for Ashes. I was watching a show one day, and it was Oprah Winfrey was interviewing Chris Rock's wife, and she had an organization called Style Works. And I said, I believe God is calling me to do that. I'm a woman of faith. And I said, I believe God is calling me to do that. And so I reached out to her and I said, what do I have to do to start a like agency like yours? And she said, I'm not taking on any more Style Works agencies, but that doesn't stop you from starting your own. She actually responded to me, and I walked away and thought about that. And I prayed about, what am I supposed to do? And literally in the middle of the night, I wake up and Beauty for Ashes was in my spirit. I'm like, where did that come from? So I turned to the Bible in Isaiah 61, and it talks about beauty for ashes and making the exchange. So we go through so many things in life, whether that is divorce, whether that is, flunking out of school, not being able to go to school, bankruptcy, whatever your story is. I believe in the Bible supports this, that you can make a great exchange. You can give God your ashes, and that's what your ashes in life represent. And he'll give you beauty in place of that. So we seek to really, now we used to focus primarily on adult women, but now we're focusing on high school girls as well as college age girls. And so the program has changed, but we're still teaching them how to give them beauty for ashes, because you'll be surprised how many of our clients have gone through things, right? Many of them are underrepresented, and they've gone through things in their life, whether they were raised by a single mother, whether some of them have been molested, believe it or not. So there's a lot that's happening in their life. Some of them are first generation college students. And so my goal and our purpose is really to expose them to things that they haven't been exposed to, and to help them dominate spaces, whether that is to become an entrepreneur, whether that's to go to college, whether that is to finish high school successfully or go to a trade school. We teach them programs, leadership development programs, to help ensure their success in any of those spaces, to help them navigate. And we expose them to microaggressions and how to create a personal story. What is your personal brand? We teach them leadership skills. We teach them etiquette skills, like anything that we believe that will require them to be successful, because most of us have experienced a lot of things in life, because we're trying to create a path for the next generation of female leaders.
I love that, because I think that early age group of high school to kind of those earlier stages of adulthood is so critical, especially for a young woman, specifically of color. I just think that if you are gathering leadership skills, it just makes the load of life a little bit easier, if you gather them earlier. Because I think about myself, my own personal career, I could always kind of get the thing done. I was a smart girl, but I do know that if indeed I would have had, more guidance on where to insert myself, how to use my voice, I think that there would have been a little bit of less rumbling, if you will, in my career. That's why I just know that having, leadership skills earlier on just makes that career ride a little bit easier.
In our spaces. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I was going to say we see them in my current position. We see a lot of students who are close to graduating from college, and some of them they may not be as prepared. So I'll go to college campuses and high schools to really teach within those schools as well. We want them prepared. They're smart, they've been educated, but oftentimes they haven't been given the experience to really sharpen their saw. And so that's where we come in. We're here to just help pave a path for them to be able to be successful.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I love it. And you know what? Something sparked my antenna, or it caused my antenna to rise when you were talking in that last segment. And you said that when you were trying to figure out what to do with your nonprofit, trying to get it to come to life, you went to prayer, right? You went and asked in prayer, and then you ended up in Isaiah. And it's something about that ask, not the ask to the world, to the friends, but that transformative thing happens when you ask him. And I was talking to you about, my faith walk and really how this whole podcast came, into light, a seemingly random conversation with this person, that person, and then we ended up here. But you and I both know there's transformation in the power and the ask to him. I want you to talk about that power of the ask and really sprinkle in where you are with your faith.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great question. I've always felt that I've been called to do more and to be more. But sometimes when you ask God something and he answers, that vision is so big that you often shy away from that, thinking, I can't do what he's called me to do. And so if you notice, my nonprofit organization has international attached to it. And when he gave me the vision, he says, you will be international. And I'm thinking, little old me, this little girl from Augusta, Georgia, is called to start something she's never done before. But I can tell you, I was so committed to God that I wanted to know what he was calling me to do. I'm also committed to God that I understand that I am not called to fulfill this vision by myself. And when you understand that, you would not mind asking God what he has called you to do. When you truly understand that, and when you truly live your life to please him, you truly understand that God has called you and he's called others to help be builders and bridges for you to be able to accomplish what he's called you to do in this earth. So the ask is powerful, but the yes is even more powerful. Once you ask and he tells you, what are you going to say? Yes or no? You got to answer the call. It's not about you. It's about who you have been called to help. That's what it's about. Not you, but others.
That's good. Yeah, she didn't preach the little word. I had to look around for an offering plate, but I didn't see one. So I'm gonna get back on track now, Miss Jackie. So you're a busy lady, so I have to try to get as much gold as I can. You know that I'm loving this you and I do not take it for granted. So let's go here because I know that you are really and truly a woman of your word. You're on the ground in several different community initiatives. And I think in doing our research, we saw that you were involved with the American Cancer Society as well as Achievement of the Triad. Please correct me if I mess up the name of that last one, but I want you to talk about your involvement with these organizations and also to what they mean to you. Also, too, I just want to say now, thank you for the action steps. And we are just, of course, amazed at all the things that you have your hands in. But I want to give you opportunity to talk about some of your nonprofit work.
Excellent. Yes. I am on the board of Junior Achievement of the Triad that promotes financial literacy and workplace readiness. And so, as you might imagine, financial literacy is a lacking skill for our youth today. And so, what better mission to be able to give back to and teach our future leaders such an important skill as financial literacy as well as workforce readiness, right? So they go hand in hand. We have people who might land employment, but they don't know how to properly manage their finances. And that starts at a very young age from, kindergarten on up. And so I am so excited to be able to serve the community in that capacity. We are doing some amazing work in the Triad and nationally, right? It's a national organization, but I'm on the board for the Triad division. I'm also a board member for the American Cancer Society here in Northern North Carolina. And the American Cancer Society has touched everyone at some point, whether it's touched yourself or somebody that you love or a friend. That's cancer is just something that has transcended or impacted anyone's life. So what better organization to give back to? My mother battled breast cancer about 7.5 years ago. And so, of course, the mission, we're trying to eradicate cancer and raise money for research and all of those amazing things and make life a little bit easier for people who have been diagnosed. So I can't think of two greater organizations to be able to give back to. So that's the two organizations in a nutshell that I serve in a board capacity. There are countless others that I give back to outside of board membership.
Absolutely. I love it. And that financial literacy piece is so important. You know, I have a 7-year-old in here. We're starting to incorporate that part of his education now, just as lightly as we can, because it is definitely a need. So thank you so much for touching on that. Now, Ms. Jackie, word on the street is that you trying to write another book, or you're look now. That's what
I'm trying to be like you. I'm trying to be like you.
Word on the street is now, Miss Jackie, that you're trying to write another book. Okay, we want to know. We want to know about the book. What's the inspiration behind it? Because we want to start the pistol journey to get this thing out. I know it has power. I've already told you. I know it has power behind it. So I want you to talk about it, because we're going to speak about it in the space. So when I contact you 6 months from now, I'll say, how many chapters is done? Are we ready for publishing? I'm just saying it now, so I have a bookmark, and it's on camera, y'all, and I can show her. Y'all know I'll be having receipts about this. Okay, so I want you to talk about this next book. What's the inspiration? And what we're gonna do to get this moving?
The pressure is on. You just put the pressure on me. I've been writing this book for about 2 years now. And the motivation for writing this book really is dedicated to my experiences through corporate spaces. And again, originating from my time at Bennett College for Women. And it's really to share my story, and it's to really give hope and encouragement to women in particular that are underrepresented in corporate spaces. Many times we tell people that they battle with imposter syndrome, and I don't believe Black women battle from imposter syndrome. I believe we battle from things such as systemic racism in terms of the experiences that we've had, microaggressions, micro insults. It's all of those things that come to speak to us and to tear down our confidence and to make us question our abilities. We know that we're capable and we are smart and we're skilled and we are well educated, but for whatever reason, we get into some spaces and we buckle because we start to question our ability in those spaces. And it could be because there was a voice that was contrary to the voice in your head that told you that you were enough, but then the contrary voice comes to tell you that you're not enough. And then that begins to impact who we become in corporate spaces. And we start to think we don't deserve a space at the table. And so I've come to dispel that myth and that lie. And I want to do that in the form of a book, and just, again, just sharing spaces of different stories of different women who are underrepresented, who may have had similar experiences, to support that, to tell you that you are called to be more and to do more.
See, that's what has to be undone, because you're right. We will cling to the imposter syndrome, and it's come up several times in this space, but it's time for something deeper than that. That's why I told you how to get this thing out, so that you can re-educate. I'm telling you.
I do.
Now, Ms. Jackie,
I will get it out. I do.
Okay. Now, I want you to tell us where we can find out more about Beauty for Ashes. Give us their website. And if there's any other contact details that you want to provide in this space, I want to make sure I give you an opportunity to do that.
Okay, excellent. I am a social media guru. I am on every social media platform. I'm on Instagram at I am Jackie C. Johnson. I am on Facebook under Jacquelyn Clark Johnson, and my website is www.jackieclarkjohnson.com, and Beauty for Ashes is www.beauty4ashesintl.com. I'm also on TikTok, believe it or not. That's my claim to fame in terms of social media, and I'm on Twitter.
Now, why do you say believe it or not for TikTok?
People often say, you're on TikTok. I'm like, I have a lot of followers on TikTok, a lot of followers.
Yeah.
So I started TikTok during COVID, and it's just so much fun, and it allows me to show a different side of who I am. So I've enjoyed TikTok a great deal.
Okay, now you know I'm gonna have to go look at this because I haven't looked at the TikTok yet, but I'm gonna go find you there and see what you got going
Go
on.
follow me. Go follow me. You see a persona on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, and you see a different persona on TikTok. But I don't do a lot of grand things, but it's a lot of fun for me.
Oh, I love it. Now, Miss Jacquelyn, this is the part of the show where we cue to you for final words. We tell you to give us some good, strong parting words that gives us some ways to leave this place and also to really track into the essence of Jacquelyn Johnson. I'm going to turn over you to final thoughts.
My final thoughts are to be you, really to be authentically who you are, to not shy away from who you have been created to be all that you have been called to be. Don't live life with regrets. Live life knowing that you have lived life to the fullest and you have really embraced the power of yes, and you have asked the right questions. Step outside of your comfort zone. There's no growth in the comfort zone. Dare to be different, dare to be bold, and dare to be you. You have been called to make a difference. You have been called to really dominate the spaces you've been called to take up space in. And remember, life is, and the things that happen in life and what you have been called to do is never really about you. It's really about others. That's one of the reasons why I do have to write this book, right? It's not about me. It's one of the reasons why Beauty for Ashes was started. It's not about me. It's about those that are assigned to me. And you too have people that are assigned to you. So again, there's no growth in the comfort zone. Dare to step out of the comfort zone and do things you have never dreamt of doing. It's your time, and your time is now.
You said it. Be you. I am finally walking in that. I hope that you guys can see that. I'm just so excited about this episode. I knew from my heart that it was going to be a good one. I'm just happy that we kept our word and we got this thing done. So thank you so much, Miss Jackie. You know that I love you already. But I tell you guys, transformative things happen when you use your voice. I tell you all the time, I will never leave this place without telling you that I love you. And really, you know what? It'll be no time before I'm back with another amazing woman on the HBCU Her Voice podcast.